Welcome to the Shred the Spread podcast, your home for all of your NFL sports betting needs. I'm your host, Jared, and back for our Week 7 Best Bets episode is my right-hand man, my dude, Dynell. What's going on, man?
What's going on, my guy? Back at it again for another 5-pick week. Loving the contest lines. I feel very good about lines we picked, man. Very confident on this contest. I feel like this is our 5-0 spot, bro. I am dead ass honest, bro. I think we really dug and found good numbers this week.
They say the best comes out of you once you face adversity. Last week, our first losing week of the season, 2-3. That brings us to, I believe, 17-8 on the 19-11 on the contest. We were 17-8 last week. Regardless, still winning, still in the money. Now it's just a matter of, as I stated on last episode, we're trying to climb. We're trying to reach the top dollar. We're sitting in the top 15 percentile. So, a decent payout, but we're getting greedy. We want some more.
Right.
We're gonna keep climbing. Still alive in Survivor. Obviously, last week, what was the Survivor pick last week? Do you remember? Oh, it was the Bills.
Took the Bills. Yep, exactly.
And I said the second pick was the Rams. So if you took the Rams, got tremendous value. If you took the Bills, regardless, you won. The whole point of Survivor is to survive. So without further ado, let's get right into our best bets.
Let's go.
All right, here we go. So in all likelihood, Deshaun Jackson's going to at least get a return. Deshaun Jackson gets a block. Are you kidding? Way down top. Oh, what a shot from Curry. That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss.
Leading us off, the 1 o'clock game, the only 1 o'clock game that we have for our picks. Now, I will say, this does kind of make me nervous because historically, we've been pretty poor on the late slate. However, I think we're due for some positive regression. We can't be that bad in the 4 o'clock window. We're going to turn it around. Yeah, we just got traded from Commanders to the Vikings. We're about to turn the page.
Yes, sir.
With that being said, Dynell, the first pick is the Ravens minus 3.5 at home against the Lions at 1 o'clock. Tell the listeners why we like this pick.
Them conditions. You take the fish out the fish bowl. What do you got? A flopping fish out in the air. This is about to be 15-mile-per-hour winds going on right now, so throwing the ball is going to be very, very difficult. On top of that, rain's coming in the forecast, and on top of that, if you want to throw temperature out there, it's about 55 degrees. And that dome is a crispy, warm-ass 68 or 72 degrees every single time. We're also talking about the Ravens, whose defense is top 10 in damn near every category. They stop big plays, and that's what the line's predicated on. Big plays. Also, let's throw on the fact that David Montgomery's not playing, and you already know that's the touchdown machine. Jameer Gibbs is starting. Granted, not a bad player. He had one good game against the Atlanta Falcons, but he has yet to really show me that he is that consistent. He's consistent enough to be that 12th pick. So I guess we're going to find out, but that's going to be hard to do against this Ravens defense. And that alone, this Ravens offense is built for this type stuff. They run the ball extremely well. The Lions defense, rush defense has been very good, but let's not forget who they've been playing. The rushing attacks they've been playing has been at best subpar. Honestly, at best subpar. And trust me, they're going to run into a very, very hungry Ravens team who's trying to stay up in that division.
Yeah, I mean, Dynell said it best. We're playing the conditions here. We have a mobile quarterback who has the advantage in these conditions. 15 miles per hour, rain sprinkled in. It's going to be wet. It's going to be windy. This will favor a team with the identity to run the ball. And let's be real, this may make Jared Goff pretty irrelevant in this offense. David Montgomery being out is huge. He is huge. They really don't have a goal line threat anymore because they have Jameer Gibbs and then Craig Reynolds, who threw that great block last week. Well, he's questionable too, so he's a little bit banged up. So obviously Gibbs going to be getting the most of the workload, and we know he's a finesse type of guy, get out in space type of guy, receive in the backfield, an Alvin Kamara type player. He's not going to push it in on the run line. And with that being said, the Ravens, surprisingly, are 9th against the rush. And that's kind of inflated because obviously the Detroit Lions being 4th against the rush is scary. But if you really look into it, they've played the Panthers, they've played the Packers, the Falcons, and the Seahawks. The Seahawks were the team that dominated them. The Falcons ran the ball decently, but they only put up 20 points. So I like the Ravens in the spot. We're getting them at home. And I think this number is a little off. That's why it's kind of making me feel weird about it. I really think the Ravens should be like 2.5, 3, but the public is coming in so heavy on the lines. They're just overinflated right now. So we're going to take the team with the identity at home, run the ball. Lamar Jackson, this might be a big Lamar Jackson rushing game. So yes, we'll see. but we love the Ravens in the spot at the 1 o'clock window. Moving on to our second pick, and this may surprise some of you guys, but we're going to stick with our guns. The Seahawks -7.5 at home facing the Cardinals. Very simple. The Cardinals are missing one of the most key players on their offense in James Conner. James Conner is that guy on second down. He's getting 4 rushing yards, 5 rushing yards, making it third and manageable. What you saw last week with James Conner, they could not move the ball downfield. The Cardinals settled for 3 field goals against the Rams defense, who isn't even top 20. They're 24th ranked against the run. Well, what if I interest you in a team that struggled against the 24th rush defense? Now, the team that is already struggling to run the ball is going up against the Seahawks, and the Seahawks are 4th against the rush. So, I mean, what are we talking about? We're going to force Josh Dobbs to make plays all game against the secondary, which is crazy, but look who's back there for the Seahawks. They are ball hawks. They cover receivers. I mean, do you really think Marquise Brown is going to torch this Seahawks defense? Give me a break. Give us the Seahawks -7.5. Dino, what else do you feel about it?
I mean, not much. You really kind of touched on it other than the fact that they are at home. The 12th man's behind them, and they had a rough loss against the Bengals last week.
Exactly. That's a big point.
Motivation. What doesn't motivate you right now after coming off a tough loss that you feel like you should have won? Close game against the Bengals. You're at home. You're a little pissed off. That secondary's been playing well as of late. No, yeah, it's time to feast. It's time to eat. No questions asked. It's time to eat.
Yeah, Seahawks -7.5. It's a little scary because we don't have the hook on our side. But honestly, if the Seahawks go up by 14 points, do you really think the Cardinals are going to catch up? I just don't think so. Let's move on to the third game. This is where we may have a split decision in our audience. The Chargers +5.5 against the Chiefs. I know. The Chargers look broken. The Chargers aren't converting on third downs. The Chargers aren't converting in the red zone. They're playing rough, but we got to back history, back the trends. We still have Justin Herbert as our quarterback. And to be real, this Chiefs offense is not the same Chiefs offense that we once knew. Eric Bieniemy gone to Washington. You can definitely see the identity of this Chiefs team still uncertain. They're trying to find their footing. But we have a Chargers team, which you know you're going to get. Division games, they play close. They lose to the Chiefs by a field goal pretty much every time. It feels like it's always a 1-score game. I think Justin Herbert, all of his losses besides 2 were 1-score games. So we're going to take the Chargers in the spot. +5.5. I would love if it was 6. Obviously, we're not getting that in our contest. But Herbert +5.5. I mean, this seems like a no-brainer to me. I just, do I trust the Chargers defense? Not necessarily, but their rushing defense has been surprisingly decent the last few weeks. And if you can just force Mahomes to throw the ball all game, we've seen it. He's been missing some big throws and making a few mistakes. We saw it versus the Jets. Travis Kelce, obviously, he's still going to be a high volume player, but we're not seeing these explosive 30, 40-yard plays. He's not he's not as crucial in the end or in the red zone as he once was. You see they're deferring to a lot of different guys. The younger guys are getting a chance. So I think the Chargers are going to have a decent spot against the Chiefs here.
Yeah, I feel like that's been every team's game plan right there. Kelsey's going to eat. Yeah, we get that. We're going to let him eat. But at the end of the day, once we get close to that pin down, that red zone time, go ahead and shut Kelsey down. Go ahead and double him. Let's make these young receivers work. And let's test Isaiah Pacheco in the red zone too. I feel like they haven't had a lot of Isaiah Pacheco really get going in the red zone. So you pair that with a team whose specialty. I mean, Brandon Staley's specialty is 1-score games, 3-point games, those close games. And you giving me a Chargers +5.5 with that offensive potential, with Eckler back. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I really feel like this Chargers team can roll. This is going to be a very, very close game. It's a divisional matchup. And we're going to see what goes on.
Yeah, we're just going to play the trends. Guys, we know Patrick Mahomes doesn't cover these large spreads. What's going to change this week? A divisional game? This is where we want to back the dog. Now, we're moving to one of my favorite picks of the year.
Yes, indeed.
You may call me a homer. You may call me delusional. You may call me crazy. The Dolphins put up 70 points. The Eagles lost to the Jets. I don't care. What are we talking about? This Dolphins defense is Charmin soft. Eagles -2.5. Not even a field goal. At home, getting Jalen Carter, Darius Slay, Lane Johnson, Devontae Smith, all good to go. The dogs are barking. The Eagles are coming for blood. Kelly Green jersey at home. Prime time Sunday night. What are we talking about? If there's one team that you need to get your red zone offense right against, it's the Dolphins. This is the perfect figure it out spot. This Dolphins team, they don't want to play competitive games. They want to try to outscore their opponent. And I'd be surprised. Like, look at the Bills' pressure that they were putting on Tua. He was struggling to make throws. They couldn't get the rush defense going. And that's just eye-opening to me because I feel like the Eagles probably do that better. We have speed up front. Our secondary, obviously, there's a mismatch with Tyreek Hill. I'm not going to lie. But if you really can focus on Tyreek Hill and stopping the run, I just don't see how this Dolphins team is going to put up 20, 24, 27 points. The biggest thing is they're talking about rain and wind now, like in the 40s and rainy and windy. We have a mobile quarterback with one of the best probably the best offensive line in the game with a three-headed monster back there. Gainwell and Boston Scott, obviously they haven't been going, but because DeAndre Swift's been so critical behind the line of scrimmage, he's making plays. Yes, they had a rough loss last week, but this is such a get-right spot for the Eagles. I love them under a field goal. Give me the Eagles at home all day, Dynell.
Shoot, give me the Eagles any day after a loss back home in the concrete jungle. That's enough for me. That alone is enough for me to already bet the -2.5. And like you said, everybody's coming back. That running game was kind of stagnant last week. That would not be the case this week. I feel like the offensive coordinator, Brian Johnson, is going to learn from that. I feel like they're going to really try to get this run game going and really attack it. And A.J. Brown has been good as anybody. He has been good as anybody. In the last 4 games, he has 125 receiving yards. Like, come on, guys. Like, what are we talking about here? And be honest with you, the Dolphins kind of thrive on having the ball multiple times. You know, not even eating up time possessions, but how many possessions do they get? How many do they have? This Eagles running game can drag this game out. You know, really, really drag this game out. And then Tua's going to have to be very, very perfect each and other possession in order to win and capitalize on this game. When you give Tua less chances and you give this offense less chances to kind of do what they do their thing, trust me, they're very vulnerable to beat. You've seen that with the Bills. And the Bills put it on them at home in New York. This is Philadelphia. This is the East Coast. It's going to be cold. It is going to be cold. So, yeah, we're going to see. That speed's going to slow down. Eagles -2.5 all day.
Yeah, dude. This is just such a get-right spot. And I think we're getting about a point of value here because if the Eagles do handle business against the Jets, what are they, 3.5? Do they make this a 4-point game? That's what I'm saying. Like, we're getting them under a field goal. This is just a smash spot for the Eagles. And I know there's obviously the fear that the Dolphins can go right out there, score a touchdown, and we stall out. But I feel like there is going to be such a circle on this game. You know, this is probably the game that they'll prepare for the most this season, just because they're coming off such an embarrassing loss. And the biggest thing that I took away, they score 14 points in the first quarter. Guess who's in the game? Lane Johnson. Guess who comes out of the game? Lane Johnson. What did they do? They lay us a goose egg. So that just shows how much and how important Lane Johnson is to this team. And when he's out on the field, they are a completely different dynamic. So those are just, several points. We could go on and on all day about this number, but we'll leave it at that. Eagles -2.5 for our 4th pick. Dynell, the last pick of the week. We're going to another primetime spot. Tell the audience what we're on.
We are on the 49ers -6.5 against the Vikings. Why? Let me tell you why. What I saw last week from the Minnesota Vikings absolutely disappointed me and made me sick to my stomach. Without Justin Jefferson, it really just shows that this offense is average. If that, Justin Jefferson is truly the best receiver in the league. Because there's no way I just saw this offensive production go from what it was 2 weeks ago when Justin Jefferson was playing to what it was now. It was abysmal. They scored 13 points against a porous Bears pass defense. And then on top of that, the only reason why they won is because the Vikings defense got a pick 6 against the Bears. And the Vikings defense is trash. So you can only imagine what it's going to look like against a 49ers team who once again came off of a rough loss, the game that they should have won. And they're about to come out, and Brock Purdy didn't have his best game. They're about to come out there and attack that Vikings team. This team is motivated. I feel like they're going to go in there and just lay the Vikings straight on out. Playing out straight up like that. They can't handle the Vikings can't handle the pressure. The running game stinks. The 49ers defense is top in the league. What are we talking about here? All right. Yes, we don't really do big spreads. We don't really do 7-point spreads, but like I said, that's the theme this week. We think the Predators are going to go out there and kill this week. And it's no different. It is nothing different with the 49ers here this week.
Yeah, I mean, what's the theme? Eagles off of a loss. Seattle off of a loss. 49ers off of a loss. That's what we want. We want the teams that are hungry. They don't want to be. They don't want to come. They're not just coming out another game to play. Oh, we're 4-0. We're handling business. We're 5-0. We're handling business. Damn, we dropped the ball last week. We got to come out there. We got to prepare twice as hard. I don't care who we're playing. We can lose any game, any week. And we're not doing it prime time versus Kirk Cousins without his best weapon, without a running game that's as stagnant as can be. Cam Akers, Alexander Madison look lost behind the line of scrimmage. Their offensive line can't block shit against the probably top 3 defense in the league. who is Kirk Cousins going to throw to? Jordan Addison's going to have focus on him. I'm sorry. We liked Jordan Addison last week for props. I don't this week. There is going to be so much focus on Jordan Addison down the field. Okay, so now who's our weapon? KJ Osborne? Give me a break. And TJ Hawkinson? Do you know who's patrolling the middle of that field? His name is Fred Warner. No way in hell, dude. No way in hell. They're going to get pressure on Kirk. They're going to force him to throw, bad passes. I think this Niners team potentially gets 3 turnovers this game. We saw what they do prime time versus the Cowboys. Do you think the Cowboys are anywhere close with the offense? Or do you think the Vikings have a better offense than the Cowboys? Absolutely not. No playmakers on that field. It's going to be Kirk Cousins throwing up to people who are going to be in coverage. He's going to have to make perfect passes all game, and we know Kirk's not going to do that. Give us the Niners -6.5 in prime time. Love it.
Love it.
That's the 5, Dynell.
That's
the 5.
Yes, sir. Wrap it up. Put it in present. Give it to Christmas because it's gonna be a 5-0 week and a money week to me.
I feel good, man. Like I feel really good. Like I think the Ravens. I mean, this is just an over evaluation of the lines. Like the Ravens. I mean, dude, in the conditions, I love the spot. Seahawks at home, awful loss. Chargers playing the trend +5.5. Eagles at home, awful loss, and Niners in prime time. Awful loss. We just need everybody to go out there and do what they're supposed to do. That's all it is. We're not asking for much.
Do your job. Do your job. That's all I'm asking for. Do your job this week, man.
So we're going to bounce back this week. Obviously, the whole goal is to win every week. 3-2 bare minimum. We want to keep climbing, but we have to make up some ground from last week. So we're shooting for 4-1, 5-0. We're still looking for that 5-0 week this week. It's inevitable. It's coming. It's going to come.
Damn right. We're due.
Just Dynell and I were looking over some of the analytics this before we went recorded this episode, and I just want to give a shout out to last episode. Surprisingly, I don't know if the London game is drawing a crowd, but 60% of our listeners on Spotify are from the UK. That's awesome. That's cool. International.
Yeah, damn right. Who would have thought? Never would have thought. Never would have thought.
That's unreal. We're just showing how the sport is growing across the world. Obviously, those London games have been cool. I know that's a different dynamic to have because you guys can actually get the opportunity to go to the games. I know the tickets are probably ridiculous just because the demand, but that's awesome. Just want to give a shout out to not only everybody from the UK, but everybody who listens in general. You guys are making this. It motivates us to put out more content and work twice as hard because now we know we have people who take our picks. We have people who listen to the show. So that just means twice. I mean, that just means so much to us. So I just want to get that out of the way. Make sure you guys know you're appreciated for listening each and every single week and coming back too. You guys, after 2 and 3, we're hoping you guys, if you're listening, you come back. So with that being said, those are 5 best bets for the week. Oh, Survivor. Oh,
shoot. Yeah. Almost forgot.
Yeah, almost forgot. So Survivor this week, I mean, I really feel like there's only one spot to get to, and I think it's the Seahawks. Seahawks, not only do we like them for the contest, so obviously we think they're gonna cover, but they just seem, I mean, the whole from my understanding, the whole strategy behind Survivor this year was fading the Cardinals. Obviously, we can't use the Bills. Bills historically good against the Patriots. We lose them last week, but looking at big spread wise, it looks like the Seahawks are probably the only play this week. Niners, if you haven't used them already, like them, but obviously I used them a few weeks ago and gave those out. So we're going with the Seahawks this week. I really don't have a second option because the other 2 options would probably be the ones that we used the last few weeks. So we're going to go with the Seahawks. I don't think there was a spot where you guys should have used the Seahawks already, unless, potentially in a loss.
It's now.
Yeah. So the Seahawks schedule is going to start getting a little bit more difficult. They're going to face the Niners and stuff.
That's an understatement. That is an understatement.
100%. So, they got the Browns coming up and the Niners and the Ravens, the Rams, the Niners, the Cowboys. So, like, this seems like the spot where you want to take the shot on the Seahawks, get them before the schedule gets horrendous. So those are 5 picks. That is our Survivor pick for the week. This has been the Week 7 best bets. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at @ShredTheSpread_. You can also follow us on TikTok at @ShredTheSpread. You guys, feel free if you have any questions or concerns, shoot us a DM on Twitter. That's probably the easiest way to get in contact. We check that pretty often. This has been the Week 7 Best Bets episode. Dino, you want to say anything to the fellows before we get out of here?
Oh, no, man, the usual. Don't be stupid, bet responsibly, get y'all picks in, use our picks as guidance. Like I said, you don't have to follow everything, but if you do so, we appreciate it. And trust me, I feel like this week's going to be nothing short of a delivery week. I feel like it's really going to deliver for everybody. So yeah, like I said, stay updated, tune in. Hey, let's get this money, baby. Vegas owes some money this week.
We're bouncing back this week. Winning week coming to you. This has been episode week 7, Best Bets on the Shred the Spread podcast for myself, Dynell, and our producer, Tyler. Thanks for listening to this episode. Until next time, we'll see you.
Peace.